Stop seeking and start shining. Welcome to a 22-minute bite-sized experiential session created to activate and empower your soul's unique purpose, which is not a destination, but it's a magical daily odyssey. Your moment to shine is here, and I'm your host, Julie Suen. Aloha. Welcome to another episode of Shine, 22-minute soul purpose activations. I am so thrilled and excited to have Adria on our show today. Adria, I know her as an angelic channel, a medium, definitely very intuitive guidance. I work with Adria. I would say somewhat frequently and for years now. I was also a member of her New Earth Play Hub membership for a little while. And is there anything you would like to add to introduce yourself to our listeners before we tune into our mantra for today?
I think that's great. Yeah, the other services are more Sedona based, so that sounds great. Thank you.
Great. And all the listeners will have a chance to look more deeply into your offerings. I'll be adding that onto the show notes, as well as my email subscribers will receive a special email tuning you folks to that. But I'm feeling the energy, like we've got to get started. So
Yes.
Let's get rolling. I'm feeling a lot of like this angelic energy pushing me, physically pushing me. I'm like, okay, I hear you. I always start with mantra, which is kind of like an invocation to set us into an energetic wavelength before we get started. So before we started rolling with the recording, the angels were communicating with Adria, and she suggested an affirmation. So I'm going to tune us into that. And it goes like this. I'm expanding my capacity to hold light. Actually, let's change that up to I am ever expanding my capacity to be light.
I'm buzzing over here.
Yeah, right? Okay, cool. Soul purpose. Where would you or the angelic team like to launch this conversation?
Well, whatever you want to do, and it might be many things in your soul purpose. It's probably not just one. The more capacity or energy you have to do that, the more free you can feel to just go for it. So today the angels wanted to bring through some energy in the form of a transmission for increasing your capacity for light. And I was going to say hold light, but I'm like, no, it's not really that, because it flows through. I mean, some of it's held and some of it flows it's a moving energy, as we're feeling here starting the podcast. So yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I love that. Yeah.
And there's so much, where does the light come from before we jump in? Can come from the sun these days. There's a lot more solar activity that has, I think, both knowledge and energy in it. Can come from your own heart, can come from an enlightened being, can come from the earth. So there's a lot of sources of light, and we're just focusing on today holding more of it, taking in more. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And sun is definitely nurturing us and tuning us into that. Okay, so I'll let you transmit.
Yeah. This is Angel Raphael. So wherever you are, if you can sit in a manner to receive, it doesn't have to be ramrod straight, but we would say focus yourself a little bit, your attention, so you're not watching the television at the same time or driving. So your light is emanating from you, but there is also light from many sources from without, so-called without of you. If you're focused just on your being, it seems to be outside of yourself. If you're focused wider, it's part of you already. So the first thing we want to do is come wider in our stance of who you are, so that you can meld with the light around you. So when you look at yourself with your inner eyes and see there's a body shape on the chair or the floor, and there's energy, there's a padding of energy around you, and then there's all of this energy in the world, from the cosmic light, from solar light, from the earth, from other beings. And many times that light is shared. So the sun, for example, shares light with anyone who wants it, right? You have to put up a shield or a shade if you don't want it. You automatically get it if you're in view of the sun. So we'll use that for our focus today, but that's not the only type of light. So how big are you to be able to collect the sun's rays? Are you 3 feet around your body? Are you 1 mile wide? How big would you like to be? If you were 1 mile wide on a daily basis, you might feel a little scattered because there are a lot of energy forms, life forms around in that mile. But from time to time, let's say 10 minutes, you want to increase your light. And again, we'll play with the sun today, but you can use other forms of light that are freely given. Think of yourself. You can just imagine it. It's not a push-pull with your energy field. You're just going to ask yourself to grow to be 1 mile wide in all directions. So you're roughly a circle of 1 mile. And all of that, so even if you're indoors, right, some of you now is outside. And if it's daylight, you're receiving the sun. You just have that intention, all right, I want to collect and energize myself with this light from the sun in a field that extends for 1 mile in all directions. You can extend the mile downward also into earth so that you're grounded as you do this. And if there's any excess light more than your system wants, you can just let it flow down into the earth. She's happy to receive that. So you can also use this as a pass-through of cleansing. Light can be cleansing. Yes, you are a bit of a field that can charge like a battery. But at some point, you've had enough, you're full, and it's going to pass through here to earth. And as it passes through, it's filling in any shadow places in you, and it's also washing through any staleness from your day or the night before. For a moment, you're receiving this light just to the level of your comfort and letting the rest pass through down to earth. The mile above your head is quite rarefied air. There's lovely sunlight up there, so you're also collecting above yourself, above the trees. So you are this sparkling 1 mile ball of solar light now. And ask yourself to increase how much you're going to hold before it passes through. Just a fraction, just a little bit more than is comfortable. So So there's a difference between comfort and danger, right? There's a certain amount you're used to, but within safe bounds, and you know what those are. You're just increasing just a bit. Oh, I can be brighter quite effortlessly. The energy's not even coming from me. And you might feel that buzz like a bit of a vibration, a vibratory field around you. Light is also a vibration, a frequency. And if you'd like, you can increase that, how much light you're holding, just a bit more. As we come out from this exercise, you have the option of holding at that higher vibratory state, or like an exhale, just letting the extra go down into earth and coming back to comfort zone. So you can practice this for a few minutes at a time, or when you feel depleted, you can increase and leave it increased. If later, an hour or two from now, you felt a little headache or something, you could think, maybe I have a little too much light. Let me decrease the amount of light in my field and just let that flow to earth.
I feel shiny. Yeah, that's beautiful. I've done similar meditations in the past or practices where you're filling with source light, but when we're working with the sun, this is different. This is it feels like more grounding, more centering, and I feel like my physical body is being refueled. Yeah. So
I'm feeling
amazing.
a little weightless, but not in a spacey way. Like my body on the chair, I feel like I'm just like floating around like a little genie or something. Flying carpet. Like I don't feel a weight to my body right now, but I also feel very centered and clear. Interesting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and working with the sun just seems more tangible, right? It's something that we're also familiar with on our day to day. Yeah, that was great. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yes. So while we have Archangel Raphael with us, can we ask some questions?
Yeah.
Okay. I wanna start with this because I was kind of feeling into this already this morning. Is we are in the beginning of 2024, and I feel there's a sense around this year being really big on assisting us, or even this sense of pushing us to be in alignment with our purpose and starting our creative focus on that. What are we here to do? Like really, this push is the word that keeps coming. Yeah, what's that all about?
This is Angel Raphael. Yes, there's an acceleration here. So part of it, with the dawning of Age of Aquarius in an official sense, astrologically, the Earth, the planet Earth, now comes online with what many of you have begun to feel already in yourselves. So when the planet joins with you, your planet, not one of those distant ones, joins with you, there's a tremendous acceleration or alignment of force. So what you put your mind or heart to planet's now right there with you. So you can imagine the effect is magnified tremendously.
How do we get our planet, beloved Mother Earth, to support us? We know that's what she's doing. Is there a practice you may suggest that allows us to more consciously work with her in this way?
This is Raphael. The exercise we've just done is quite lovely because you are, rather than dumping your sorrow, which is another function Earth is happy to play, to collect what you discharge or ground into Earth. Many people do this. And she can recycle all that. But when you are offering excess light, it's like offering her a bit of nectar. So she doesn't get the light in the core, right? The sunlight. So this is a sweet way of offering. I'm not asking for anything right now. I just want to give you a little light. Thanks for being here. Because she is very much in support, but you can come into a little bit more of symbiosis there with Earth through offering light.
Yeah, totally feeling that, especially in the last year and definitely the beginning of this year. If anybody has a practice of communicating with the elementals and with trees, the critters and the sky, the communication channels are feeling wide open. And there is definitely the sense of this mutual symbiosis collaboration that's happening. It's no longer, hey, Mother Earth, can you do this? Can you help me? It's it's both ways. It's
Mhm.
her befriending us and giving us offerings, and then there's an exchange there. So I definitely and the water, I feel has totally up communication. Yeah, so I definitely encourage, just kind of tagging on to what was said, our listeners to try to open those communication portals more and more and having an exchange, having this dialogue with a very, very dear friend,
Mhm.
trees, water, critters, and such.
And telepathy is like all of a sudden really open. And the angels have been saying that for a little while, that it was really going to be coming in this year. And I've started to experience that hugely, just very strong telepathy coming through. So even if you tried, last year and you thought, I talk to trees all the time and they never talk back, oh, maybe they do now.
Yes, they do.
Give
They
it a
do.
whirl.
Trust me, they do. The portals are open. It's a totally different level. And rocks and mountains. Oh, geez,
Mm.
mountains are really so full of wisdom. um, Archangel Raphael. For those who are seeking their purpose, or for those who are seeking, in a sense, a higher level of purpose, or a deepening, even a further deepening and expanding more in that, in what they believe to be their purpose. Share some wisdom on that.
Mm. This is Raphael. Yes, remember, please, that you have tremendous free will. So sometimes people look so hard for the destiny purpose, they forget that the conscious moment contains choice. So even if you have been very aligned with a purpose, but you want more, you don't have to wait for a psychic or a tarot to tell you, here's your new purpose. You could choose one you like. Choice is the biggest player in terms of the newness of New Earth, the choices you have now. Now.
And for some who may be um, not so used to choosing, and they're like, I don't know what to choose. What would you say to that?
This is Raphael. If you could imagine that life wasn't like a buffet instead of something you ordered, there's less pressure to order the right thing. You can try a few things. You may not want to eat the whole buffet. You might get sick or not have enough life years for that to try every purpose. But you could step towards something a little, take a class, have a circle gathering around a topic, try a healing modality, and see how you like it, how it feels in your being. It's not a question of skill or ability so much anymore as what do you resonate with, what in your heart lights up. So you might not know that until you try it. You might not know you're a tremendous painter until you sit in on a class one day.
What's coming up is the question of, for those who are feeling like they're stuck in a vocational path,
Mm.
what would you say to them?
This is Raphael. Become unstuck through choice. So perhaps your family depends on the income and it's a career you've studied 12 years for and you feel there's no way I can move this. But if you look carefully enough, there's something within your field that you can change. You might start teaching what you know. You might change the modality within your field. You might get a new consortium of people around you that are more aligned with your heart. So, even in those cases where it feels, no, this is it, I can't, it doesn't make sense, people depend on me, there are ways of finding joy and finding more service, even within the vocation you've chosen. Even if it's gotten stale for you, refresh it, bring new light to it.
Yeah, I love that, because this kind of ties back into being in the now and the potentiality that already is in the now, and having the willingness to make that choice to see it, to bring our own light to that. Because if we condemn it or cast it off from the get-go, we can never be present. And without that presence, it's impossible. It's impossible to make choices, right? If you're not fully present in the now, where are you choosing from? So wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautifully ties all of the themes that we've talked about during this activation, being present in the now, the free will, right? The need to exercise our free will to choose. And then, of course, being the light and bringing the light. All right. So that was approximately 22 minutes. Is there anything you want to add to our conversation today before we wrap up?
Yeah, this is Adria. Just don't wait. If you're feeling depleted, oh, tomorrow or tonight I'll do this light exercise. You probably have 5 minutes, even if you have to hide yourself in a bathroom somewhere at work, or you want to make some change in your career or do a special meditation. Don't wait. The present moment is where the energy is. The future doesn't exist, so do it right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. And neither does the past, right? It's whatever your stories, what you believe to be true about your current situation and possibly stuckness, we have a choice to drop that story as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you so much,
My
Adrian
pleasure. Thank
and
you.
the Angelics. Of course, I'll be sending out an email with the ways that we may work with you. And you've already chosen a gift to provide to our listeners. And I would be sharing that with our email subscribers. And also in the show notes, I will also be including some information on how you may work with Adria. For those of you who are not my email subscribers at this time, very easy. Just go to www.juliesuen.com. Suen is spelled Suen. Subscribe to that, and then you would receive podcast updates and the gifts that are so generously offered by our amazing speakers. Thank you for tuning in to Shine, and I will see you again next Thursday.